friends, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. Today I'm feeling a little under the weather. Started out with a head cold and now it's moved into my chest, and all I want is some chicken noodle soup. Since I'm not a person to have convenient items on my pantry, the only way I'm going to get chicken noodle soup is to make chicken noodle soup. Last night we cooked a whole chicken in an Instapot, let it cool off, stuck it in the refrigerator. Now we're going to tear this thing apart and get some soup ready. We're going to use the water that it was cooked in as our broth. 1 pack of carrots and onions that I froze. I'll put garlic in there and a homemade pasta that I'm going to turn into noodles. So I'm going to send you back in time so you can see me cook the chicken, and then after we're finished with that, I'll get you started on the pasta. So I have the water in the Instant Pot. It's a 4.5-pound whole chicken. And we're going to hit poultry 30 minutes because we're actually going to turn the broth into our soup tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and cook this chicken, let it cool off, put it in the refrigerator, and tomorrow we're going to make the egg noodles. Take the chicken off of the bones, of course, save the bones, and then we're going to make a delicious pot of chicken noodle soup. Now we're going to go ahead and get started on the egg noodles. So I have 4 cups of flour in here. I'll put about a tablespoon of salt. In the center, I'm going to make a little well. And these are 2 eggs that my friend gave me from her chickens. She gave me 18 eggs, and this is 2 of them. I'm going to crack them in a bowl first. I'm going to whisk those eggs just a little bit. Then I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of olive oil. I am eyeballing it, but you're more than welcome to measure. I'm going to mix that in here, and then we're just going to add water until it comes together. Just want to make sure we get the egg and the oil and the salt distributed among the flour. Now we're going to add just a little bit of water at a time. Alright, it's time to go in there with our hands. This is where it gets messy. when you put it on your countertop, but it's the best way to get it incorporated. Now we're just going to knead it together until we can get all this flour mixed in. Add water as needed. And this can become any shape of pasta you want. It can be lasagna. It can be the pasta to make ravioli. It could be fettuccine. It could be spaghetti. It could be whatever you want it to be. I just want egg noodles to go with some chicken noodle soup. I used almost a whole cup of water. I had a cup of water in this mason jar, and I might have about a tablespoon and a half left. But depending on the humidity in the air will determine how much water you need. So don't just put in a set amount. You put a little bit at a time until it comes together. And this is coming together. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to wrap this up in saran wrap. Make sure it's completely covered. And we're going to put this in the refrigerator for 1 hour. We're going to take it out 30 minutes before we're ready to start rolling it out. So I just took that out of the refrigerator while we work on the rest of this. And because we are doing the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, I don't have any celery in my house. We're not going to worry about it. So I'm just going to take the chicken out of this broth, and it just fell apart. We're going to save the bones. We're not going to save the skin this time, but we're going to save the bones for no-cost chicken stock. So how is your pantry challenge coming along? Are you finding any gaps or any holes that you need to work on for next year? This is actually week 2 for us, and so far it's going pretty good. I'm just going to run my knife through the chicken meat just to break it up some. cooked this in an Instant Pot for 30 minutes and it literally it fall off the bone. This is the bones. This is going to go in a Ziploc bag. And this is the meat. We're going to have soup. This is not a KitchenAid brand pasta ravioli maker. It's actually an off-brand. But it doesn't have where you can make wide noodles. It's either the regular spaghetti or lasagna or ravioli. Well, I want wide noodles. So I'm going to use the flat sheet or the lasagna setting, and then I'll just take it over to the table, use a pizza cutter, and then cut it into smaller pieces. I think I got that from Amazon for like $40 or something. I do have tape over here to show my settings because I can't see it, I'm blind. So here's our pasta dough, and it's really easy to make, and there's no right or wrong way. It's just however you want to do it. Mine is just flour, egg, salt, oil, and enough water to hold it together. So I'm just taking a bench knife, cut it into 8 small pieces, and we're just going to work with one piece at a time. So I'm just flattening it out, and I'm feeding it through. And each time I'm just turning the dial to go down one more setting until I get it to the thickness I want. I think I'm going to probably go to about a 5 or a 6. Alright, that is a 5. So I'm going to put it on the island, and then we're going to come back and cut them all. we go. So I'm just going to cut them into strips using a pizza cutter. They do not have to be perfect. That's about the size I'm going to be making them. You do want to toss them in flour just so they don't stick together. Alright, that's the pasta. Let's get back to the soup. Alright, that's the pasta. I went ahead and brought out the big stock pot. I got fire underneath. Put a little bit of olive oil in here. And then we're going to saute our onions, carrots, and garlic. Now you can add any kind of vegetables you like, peas, green beans, corn, whatever. But we are doing the Three Rivers Challenge, and I don't have those in my house. That is one gap. I need to make sure that I have the vegetables I need for soups and celery. Right here I have some chicken broth powder. It just adds another dimension to our soup. I'm going to put 3 heaping tablespoons in there. I'm just tossing that in with the oil. And then in the instant pot is the chicken, the water we cooked the chicken in. I'm going to just strain that in here, make sure I get all the bits and pieces out. Found some bones. It needs to go into the freezer bag. This is the meat that we got off of that chicken. Going in. We're going to let that warm up and then we'll taste it for salt and pepper. So this is a jar of bone broth we made in July. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. We want to get this up to a boil before we add the noodles. Because I did not salt or pepper the chicken last night, definitely need to put some in here for the chicken stock. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of thyme. Thyme and chicken goes very well together. I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. Maybe about a teaspoon of each of those. Put a lid on it so it can come up to a boil quicker. That's perfect. Now we're just waiting for it to come up to a boil. Okay, our soup is boiling. I just turned it down just a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and start adding our egg noodles. Want to make sure we are separating them as we are putting it in the pot so they don't become one big clump. And if you're curious what's the difference between an egg noodle and dumplings, dumplings is just a shortening, but I use palm oil shortening and milk and salt. An egg noodle has oil, I use olive oil, salt, and eggs. You don't want to stir it too vigorously because you don't want to break up those noodles until they start cooking and get set. But I don't want anything sticking to the bottom. And that's only going to take about 5 minutes. Have you ever wondered why you crave soups in the winter and you don't really crave them in the summer? Because soup made with real bone broth, whether it's beef, pork, chicken, it doesn't matter. When it's made with real bones and it's broth from those bones, it's actually healing to us. It has vitamins and minerals in it that our body craves. So when we crave soup in the winter, we're actually craving real bone broth. Yeah, you can buy store-bought chicken stock or beef stock or whatever, or you can buy cans of soup that is made with broth. But your body is craving it, but it's still not getting it. So I encourage you to start saving your bones, chicken, beef, pork. Um, if you're a hunter and you have deer or rabbit, save the bones and make real bone broth. So in the winter, you can have the soups that your body craves for the healing, not just the flavor. So I encourage you to save your bones when you get enough, and you can make stock from it or bone broth from it. If you're a canner, go ahead and can it. Look up the regulations on canning broth. If you don't have a canner, put it in Ziploc bags or freezer bags and stick it in your freezer. I encourage you to give your body the healing food that it needs to get through the cold winter months. And when you want soup, you can actually make soup from real ingredients. Just want you to see that beautiful noodle that we made together, and that stock. That's our no-cost stock that we make together also. Now we're going to taste the soup. This bowl is very hot. The noodles have just the right bite. I only cooked them for about 5 minutes because while it's sitting in the hot broth, it will continue to cook. So they want to overcook it to begin with, because we'll be eating this on a couple days. The broth is delicious. But if you're not saving your bones from your chicken or any kind of meat that you have bones with, I encourage you, save your bones, put them in Ziploc bags, stick them in the freezer. When you get a couple whole carcasses or a couple pounds of bones, make your own no-cost chicken stock. In the winter, we crave this. Our body needs this. There's so many vitamins and minerals in bone broth, and when it's homemade, then you control what goes in it. We don't have to put any of the shelf-stable stuff that big companies put in there to stretch a product to get a better profit off of it, or to make it look appealing and appetizing, because it is appealing because we made this. It is appetizing because our body craves it in the winter. So I encourage you, please, please start saving your bones and make your own stock. And since we were doing the pantry challenge and I didn't have no egg noodles, but I had ingredients, I decided to make egg noodles. I hope this video was informative and educational to you. If it is, please give it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We will love to have you part of the Grammy family. This is where we learn the art of home cooking made with real ingredients, that we can control what goes in our bodies. So until next time, y'all have a wonderful day. And I think this soup is going to fix my head cold. Thank you.